So we sailed over 40,000 nautical miles. We've touched around 30 countries. We've had a brilliant freaking time doing it. Like, what an adventure this has been.
8 years, some crazy amount of nautical miles, and we've sailed around the world. We're no longer sailing around the world. We are actually circumnavigators.
That sounds so pretentious, doesn't it?
It sounds pretentious, but it's really cool. I think it's
It is so cool, you guys.
like, who puts it on the resume? Circumnavigator.
I was doing past tense. I guess it's still continuous.
It is continuous. You know, you think that sailing around the world is a risky affair, but I think what you'll find out here is that most sailors are actually quite risk averse, which is really interesting because it seems like a dangerous thing to do.
It doesn't feel dangerous when you're out here. After you've kind of like set foot on the boat and stepped away from land, the danger aspect of things kind of steps away.
We worry about random people coming aboard at night. We worry about cyclones, hurricanes, typhoons, same thing. And that's about it. Like, maybe a little bit of hull intrusions in terms of like taking on water and hitting a whale or hitting a submerged object. But
that's out of your control, so you're looking for things like in your control that you can worry about. It's not about the sailing all the time. It's about the systems and the
I would add
lifestyle.
I would add to Ashley and actually say the easiest part is the sailing. The hardest part is everything else, from customs and immigration to
logistics
to boat maintenance, repairs, and those kind of things.
Yeah, provisioning even can be a challenge.
I mean, sailing, you put up a piece of cloth and the wind catches it. That's the easy part. Right?
There you go. He said it, guys.
So we'll get to the best parts in a second, but what was some of the worst parts?
Breakdowns.
Boat breakdowns.
Yeah, boat breakdowns.
I would say so too. I mean, this boat is a 2005, so she's 18 years old. So we took possession of her at 10 years old. And, you know, at 10 years, the boat is nearing the end of its kind of cycle in terms of needing a massive refit. And by massive refit, we mean the wires holding up the mast, the standing rigging, the sails, the lines, any kind of equipment on board, such as water makers, dinghy, engines. Yeah, most everything was redone over the course of our circumnavigation. Was that a smart way to go about it? Probably not, but it was the only way we could make it work because we didn't have the money up front to do a full refit before we set sail.
And this boat has great bones, is what we love. We love the platform. If you want the boat, you take on what comes with it.
Yeah.
Right? And this is one of the biggest 40-foot boats we've stepped on.
Yeah.
So we're really, you know, we still love Nahoa. We think it's a fantastic boat.
More stats. How many pirate encounters?
One pirate encounter. Sort of. I mean, it was a boarding in the Seychelles. But that is an act of piracy at sea.
Yep.
But he wasn't really a pirate. He was a pirate on a kayak.
A drug addict on a kayak. I heard the alarm go off. This is the alarm.
And I thought it was a false alarm.
Yeah, I thought it was a false alarm too. So I stick my head up over here because I always look up first to see if, you know, they have a gun or something. I see them right there in the corner. And I go, it's like a split-second decision to go at them. I rip open the door. I go, rip open. Go, wow! What are you doing? And then I hear splash, splash, and then I shine my flashlight over there. And it's like the Rastafarians with their, you know, Bob Marley hats all soaking wet, trying to get back into their kayak. I don't know even what they're saying, what they were saying, Ash. You're out by then. You're out there on deck naked.
He said they didn't take anything, man. They didn't get anything, man. So I think they were coming for things, obviously, but they didn't get anything. I said, what did they get? What did they get? And they said they didn't get anything. So yeah, it's scary.
Hello, boys and girls. We are happy to announce that this episode is sponsored by AG1. We travel a lot. We are sometimes at sea for weeks at a time. Sometimes we're nowhere close to a grocery store. and it's really hard to maintain a balanced and robust lifestyle. That's where AG1 sails into our daily routine, making sure that we get the right minerals and vitamins every single day. This is made with 75 of the highest quality vitamins and minerals and whole food source ingredients. It's super easy to make. You just take 8 to 12 ounces of water and a packet. Mix it all up, and that's it. You're getting your multivitamin, your important minerals, your prebiotics, your adaptogens, all in one drink, so you don't have to worry about knowing which supplements to mix and match, and you don't have to lug it all the way around the world. Just these little packets right here is all you need to pack with you. Out here, energy is so important for making the right decisions as weather changes from hour to hour, even minute to minute. That's why AG1 anchors our morning, providing the right amount of structure for energy and focus. It's like having a treasure trove of nutrition in a single scoop. We feel more energized and don't feel like we need as much coffee. It's super easy to get started. Just head on over to the link in the description below, or directly drinkag1.com/sailingnahoa. Right now, by signing up, you get 1 free year supply of vitamin D, K2, and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. We love AG1. We have it on board our boat. It's what we use to get our right vitamins and minerals every single day. So good. We've had a cold recently, and this just feels amazing. Nice cold water on the west coast of Canada. This is our home, by the way. This is BC, British Columbia. It's beautiful. It's turning into fall here. The leaves are starting to fall. The salmon are starting to come up the river here. There's a river at the end, and the salmon come up, spawn, and the seals eat them, and the eagles come to the party as well. It's a really cool spot. Let me have another drink.
So what was your worst part about sailing around the world?
Some countries are really well, greased in terms of having a process for coming into a country. But what you have to remember is that we're arriving with our home. It has all sorts of gear on it that could be sold in that country. So officials are always leery in terms of customs and duties and making sure that you leave with the same equipment that you came in with so that you're taxed appropriately. But there were a few instances where officials were heavy-handed, I would say. And that was one of the trickier parts. That said, now that we're in the Caribbean, we arrived here in Grenada, and it was just one of the easiest entries we've ever had.
Yeah, and I feel like for me it's more of, and you have to do this, guys, like this is something that if you sail around the world, it's like even in the Caribbean, country to country, you have to go check out, check in. And it's sometimes, I think it's like the times suck, and it's like you're hot, you're bothered, you're tired because you've just arrived, and then you have to go and do this like officialdom, and it's sometimes, it's just not the funnest part of doing it, but it is part of it, and sometimes you have the most hilarious experiences. We told them we were famous YouTubers, and so they checked out our channel on YouTube.
Sailing Nahoa. We're watching your movie.
We're watching our movie.
The two handsome and lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. What's another one for you?
Probably the always-on lifestyle. So you're at anchor and you're always aware of the wind and the squalls coming through and the rain, and it's hot, so the windows are open. So if it starts raining at night, you have to wake up and close all the windows. Your burger's gonna be wet. You're always on, and it's not like you crawl into your bed, lock your door, and shut down for the night. It's 1 ear is always open. So that's definitely a pro and a con in terms of you're also really in touch with nature. You can tell when there's a colder breeze and a downdraft from a cloud, or a certain noise on the boat. You're aware of that. So it's kind of, you're really in touch with nature. But on the other hand, it can be exhausting, and we do like to take breaks. Okay, do you want a soggy bun or a guaranteed dry bun?
Yeah, I mean, sleeping on land, whoa, that's exciting. Or tied up to a dock. Sometimes tied up to a dock is the most amazing thing. It's like, you just kind of turn off and you're like, oh yeah, we're safe, we're good. It's a weird feeling where you just feel like, okay, we can like close our eyes and sleep all night long.
Yeah, like you can do REM
Yeah.
sleep, big time.
Another one of my favorite things about living out here is that we are living off grid. Like we are self-reliant. We can, in many places, we can catch our own food. I can grow my own herbs, but I'm really poor at gardening. There isn't a lot of space for that. We're very self-sufficient out here. We catch our own fish, we make our own power, we make our own water. It's quite a unique, you know, way of living, really. And it's brilliant. It feels really good to kind of be able to live in your own little island, floating island, and create everything you need.
You're in charge of your own destiny, and we have everything on board basically to repair anything. So if the dinghy gets a hole in it, we have a patch kit for that. You know, an engine breaks, we typically have that spare part available, or can jerry rig something.
We're here in Palau, and we have a problem underwater. One of the through hulls is leaking. So this is the first time we're going to do this in the water. We have a newfound friend down here helping us out. Where is he? There he is. Hi, Dorson.
We're going to pull the through hull out and then put in a new one, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. Kind of nervous.
We're gonna have an 1.5 inch hole in our boat, spurting water from the outside to the inside.
You want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it. Oh my gosh! That's pretty awesome.
It's unlike living on land where you then call the mechanic and, you know, slot a time in for a repair. It's on us to repair that and to get that done, because there may be no mechanic around. Most of the time that's the case. There may be no spare part around. If there is a spare part that can be shipped in, there is customs and duties and time that get wasted, sometimes months, to receive that part. So you are very much in control of your own destiny and are fully responsible for your action or your inaction in terms of preventative maintenance.
And you love that?
Yeah, I like
the best part. Yeah.
I think I like that because it just
it's a challenge, I guess.
It's a challenge, and the buck stops with me. You know, like there's no excuse. You can't blame anyone else. You can't have those negative emotions because, oh, it was my fault. You know, I should have.
Could be my fault.
Yeah, it could be your fault too. But you often also are confronted with these breakdowns in places that are remote, and you have to come together as a team. And just like COVID, marriages either blossomed or failed. There was rarely anything in between. Boat relationships either blossom or fail because you either come together and solve the problem, or you go your separate ways and sell the boat.
Hey, we're still here. I guess that's a good thing.
For now.
We'll see you on the next one.
No, we love each other.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, I guess is what we're saying. There's been so many really good things.
It's been a hell of a ride, and if you think about it, 8 years is a long time. We came home with 2 little stowaways, which have enriched our lives and made our lives also very busy. We have a thriving YouTube channel, thanks to you guys for watching. We have amazing support on Patreon, which is where we get the bulk of our revenue and make this happen. And we're looking to the future to build a new vessel that will take us and you guys to even cooler places. Places that very few people get to go. We've been talking about a thing that's called Summit Syndrome. And
oh, you're going there?
I'm going there. And it's basically when you've summited Everest or some big mountain and you get to the bottom, it's like, what's next, right? Like what can you do to get that adrenaline back, to get those emotions back? And it's a real thing, and sometimes it happens when you have achieved a certain position in a job, or bought a certain car, or bought a certain house, or
basically you have had a giant goal your whole entire life, and then all of a sudden you've achieved it.
So what is next?
We've done that. It's amazing. Like, this was our dream. This was our goal. We did it. So I am so looking forward to this next coming season of Chill Out. That is my goal.
Yeah.
And then we have a new long-term goal, and we are so stoked. And it's all brought around because of the Nahoa 55, and that is our long-term goal. We are so excited and thrilled to have this like this new goal, these new dreams of like taking the boat north and taking the boat south. With that boat comes incredible opportunities for exploration, and going into cold is always hard, but I'm looking forward to it. And we want to do like the Northwest Passage, and it allows us to dream further afield, and we're really excited about that opportunity to look further, and things that we probably could do on Nahoa but might not be ideal, and like the Northwest Passage, I probably wouldn't do that on Nahoa.
So basically what we've done now is we circumnavigate around the world in the Tradewind belt, which is more or less tropical. Sometimes you have to go down to New Zealand to get out of the Tradewind belt due to cyclones, and sometimes you have to go around the Cape of Good Hope, like Africa, to, well, get around that continent. But for the most part, we've been sailing in the tropics. We don't need insulation, we don't need heat. We are generally really well off with solar power and all those kind of things. The Nahoa 55 is a different beast. It allows us to go to places where it's colder, obviously. There's more danger in terms of icebergs, for example. Those kind of qualities require a different boat. So I guess that's our next summit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I have like all these like micro goals. Like I want to go back to the South Pacific and explore some of the islands we didn't see. I mean, Micronesia would be really interesting to go and check out. Because we didn't think that this lifestyle would last, we kind of rushed through a lot of things. Because most people's circumnavigation takes about 3 to 5 years. And some people do it in 18 months. The World Arc, if you stay on their schedule and do it all, a lot of people take a break from the World Arc, but then join up again. But if you stay on the schedule and do it within their time frame, it's 18 months to sail around the whole entire world. That's incredible.
That's pretty quick.
It's pretty quick. So what we have found is that a lot of the sort of short-term goals are to go and see some of our favorite places again, and to go to some of the places we didn't sail to on the first circumnavigation.
What are the best parts?
Ooh, there's so many amazing parts about this lifestyle. The people you meet.
Yeah, both cruisers and locals, I'd say.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
In terms of locals, you know, you're interacting with them, trading with them, learning about their lifestyle. They're friendly, we're friendly. And then in terms of other cruisers, there's a lot of overlap in terms of views of the world and lifestyle, and, you know, yeah.
I mean, you've chosen to be out here sailing, so it's that in itself is a lifestyle, and it's really, really kind of neat to meet other people with the same sort of goals and life choices that you've made. I wanted to add to the people that you meet too. One of the really cool things and one of the best things about sailing around the world, I think, is that you can take your vessel into some of the more remote places, and places that are really, really difficult to do if you don't have a vessel. And you get to arrive there like kind of in comfort, and you're not staying in a hut on land with no running water and no toilet and, you know, whatever it might be. And I think of some of those places like in Papua New Guinea, in Vanuatu. It's different traveling on water, both good and bad. I mean, sometimes it's like you miss things when you're traveling on the water, but at the same time, your home's there, and you get to take yourselves into some really, really amazing places. So it's a pretty cool and really neat opportunity, and one of the best things I think about sailing around the world.
In terms of going to those remote places, it's quite reasonable given that you're able to stay there for a long time, because typically, you know, if you're a tourist and you're on a tour, you're able to go there for, you know, a few hours or a few days. We are able to anchor up and just chill and really get the vibe of the place, really explore underwater, above water, kiteboard, whatever, surf. And that's really where the costs start to come down if you take it on a day-by-day basis. For me, diving, some of the most epic spots were really, memorable. Palau comes to mind, Vanuatu, we dove the Coolidge, you know, and an old World War II wreck which still had ammunitions on it, and they took us down really deep into enclosed spaces, which honestly we didn't have the certification for, but you know, it was really, really memorable to go to those places. So yeah, underwater the wildlife was really neat.
And some of the atolls that you got to stop out in the middle of the ocean, you can't get there unless you're on your own boat. The wildlife, the sharks, the fish, the amazing things that you get to see in the passes and the areas surrounding the passes on those tiny little islands are freaking incredible. So there's a lot of really, really, really neat underwater things. I mean, you are living on the water, so you should enjoy the underwater part too.
Yes, I agree, but also every cruiser will take something, every circumnavigator, every sailor out here will take something different away from their sail around the world. And it is so diverse, the cruising community. Some people will, for example, not interact with the locals, and that's totally fine, you know. They are just on a mission to sail around the world, and they're more into the sailing and the performance aspect of the sailboats. Other people are more into culture, like we are. And, you know, other people are more into the diving and the nature. So everyone takes something completely different away from their circumnavigation. But everyone also comes away from the circumnavigation, I'd say, as a changed person with a different worldview, a more broadened worldview. Not to put us on a pedestal, it's just you've been exposed to a lot of stimuli, a lot of different cultures, and it can't help but change your view of the world.
So how much does it cost to sail around the world? Most asked question.
We get that asked a lot. So most of the money goes towards boat maintenance, honestly, and that's a big variable because, you know, the bigger the boat you have, the more money it's going to cost to maintain and upgrade. We say 15 to 20% of your boat value every year goes towards maintenance and repairs. I think that's a great number. That's a pretty industry standard number. A lot of people balk at that number, thinking it's way too high. But you know, you have to realize that you are moving a lot, you're using all the systems, and they do wear out, unlike those that go for a sail on Saturday and Sunday and then park their boat for the rest of the week.
And I can add to that too. I mean, I think if we'd only been sailing 3 years, if we had bought a boat, sailed it, you know, done some work to it, got it ready to go, sailed for 3 years and then sold it, it would have been the next person's problem.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I kind of want to say. That's kind of what we inherited in this boat, but not in a malicious way or anything like that. It's just, you know,
that's the state of life that boat was in.
Yeah. Now, we always try to do things as cheap as possible. When I say cheap, it's not necessarily the least cost way. We try to pay the least amount in the long run. So it's often that meant paying more up front. So that was, for example, lithium batteries, or getting a good dinghy, or getting a good engine, doing the solar arch on the back and putting proper panels on, getting a proper hardtop to shade us and from the sun and the rain. So those were big expenses, but because they were solid, strong, and high quality, we were able to not have to redo those compared to if it was a cloth hardtop or a shitty dinghy or a shitty engine, those kind of things. So paying more money up front definitely saves you money in the long run.
Yeah, so a lot of people want to know what sort of it costs day to day to live on a boat. And I think that there's the food is a big one, and sometimes it's a lot less money than at home, and other times it's more money than at home because you want the Western food, because if you eat like a local in some of these areas, it's very inexpensive. But then if you want some sort of treats that you're used to from your home country, then it's like way more money than what you would be paying at home. So what I say about food is that it typically costs exactly the same as you pay at home. Like, if you want to eat like you do now, it's the same all around the world. That averages out, and it's weird. You never expect it to average out, and then you look at the food at the end of the food costs at the end of the year, and you're like, well, yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the food costs more to refrigerate in these tropics. So if you like feta in your salad, you're gonna pay more. If you like salad, you're going to pay more. Locals typically just eat, for example, roti, or, you know, in the Caribbean, or whatever, half a chicken, or
if you want like
noodles in Thailand. I don't know.
Well, if you want the imported things like berries or whatever, you're going to be paying a small fortune for them in most countries that are in the tropics. So if you eat like eat what the locals eat, you'll get it. You'll find it fairly inexpensively at local markets. If you want treats that are like from home, you're going to pay more. And so the cost overall averages out to be the same. And what I'm finding, I feel like it's getting more expensive. I think inflation has hit the world, and it's not just Canada or the US that is experiencing this. I think across the world, cost of goods has gone up, food has gone up, and it's no different. Like, it's expensive. It's expensive here in Grenada. I spent $180 on like a small shopping cart of food.
Yeah.
So to sort of finish up the cost, because our last major area of, I think, expense out here, well, there's a couple more. There's the cost of flying home, but that's up to you, so we'll leave that for you to figure out. And then there's the cost of generally like parking your boat. And there's haul-outs, which we've already talked about, and those can be expensive. And then there's other things like anchoring, right? Is anchoring free?
Yeah, well,
most of the time.
Most of the time, not always. So lots of places have what they call parks, and the parks are taxes. Basically, sometimes they maintain the nature around them. Sometimes it's just a tax, and you have to pay for anchoring.
Sometimes, like the Seychelles, when you go to check out, there's like a daily fee for having your boat in that country, and it's basically like an anchoring fee for living in their country. Like, you never, like, there's fees.
Yeah, each country is so different. The wind is always free, but everything else costs money. So the interesting part, though, was that in our whole circumnavigation, we were at anchor about 80-85% of the time, and it really made us think about the Nahoa 55, our next boat, which is, well, what do you design, you know, the ultimate world cruiser to? Is it speed, so crossing oceans quicker, or is it towards livability, living at anchor more? And it really is a compromise between the two. I think if you go speed, it's a two-edged sword, because one, you're going to have less comfort, because smaller, faster, and two, you're going to get there quicker, so you're going to be sitting at anchor longer.
We want to go faster, but we want the comfort still.
Yeah.
So there's, I think, always a compromise, and we're hoping that Nahoa 55 is that ultimate compromise. But we've yet to see. We're looking forward to trying her out in a couple of years.
Yeah. That's kind of our key takeaway. You know, you move around the world with your home, you always feel rushed because there's so much to see, and there's so much beauty and so many great people to interact with. But yeah, you also have to move from country to country, and you have to do that efficiently with the seasons and
your visas and
the laws of the countries. What is your biggest takeaway from the circumnavigation for the next circumnavigation? What would you change?
I think I'd take more time in a lot of areas and slow it down a little bit. You want the best of both worlds. You want to see everything there is to see, but also see the next thing on the list. So it's a tricky one. What's your biggest takeaway for the next circumnavigation?
Well, my job has mostly been maintaining this boat and video editing, and I think definitely after talking actually to some cruisers here in Grenada as well that are long-term cruisers, it's less about the shine factor on the boat, less about, you know, having pretty polished gel coat, and more about making sure all the systems work. So that's really where my mind goes, is utilitarian, functional boat. Don't care what it looks like so much.
Less work, you mean?
Less boat maintenance to take away from the experience.
Yeah, I could see that for you. I'm still gonna have to cook and clean and take care of children. No, I think I look forward to checking out more of this world. Like, we've seen a lot, that there is so much more to see in this world, and I look forward to arriving in the places that we've already been and just kind of looking at it with a different light. Like, sometimes you have a certain experience the first time and having a different experience the next time, and You know what's also really cool is that, I think I mentioned this when we were coming in on the video, is that the world seems not smaller, but closer. You know what I mean? We were talking about how we'd love to go back to the Bahamas again, and Ben goes to me, it's only a 7-day sail. And I'm like, no, you're totally wrong. So I went and checked. From Grenada to the Bahamas, the southern Bahamas, is only a 7-day sail at 6 knots. And I was like, that's incredible. That's not far at all. So what it feels like, I think now, is things are close and there's opportunity to do whatever you want, because nothing seems unachievable or too far, really, or too much effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? Is that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I think the next circumnavigation, we're going to see a lot of different things again, because we're going to go to different places, but...
Or maybe we'll like do a loop and then not finish our circumnavigation for a while. We'll like do a loop of the north, and then we'll go and we'll go around the world, and then we'll do another loop of the south or something.
Even if we see the same places, I think it'll be through a different lens, which it'll be through
That's what I think I was trying to say.
The lens of our kids as well. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting in that sense. So anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and stay tuned for the next episode and the next decade, because we're not going anywhere. Even though this circumnavigation is complete, we just see it as a little test of what's possible, and we plan to sail the world backwards next time around to unwind this first lap.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna test that one out. I don't know.
No, I'm not going upwind.
We'll leave it here. I am so sorry to all the flat earthers out there. We have proven that Earth is round.
It's pretty exciting.
That is exciting?
No, it's pretty exciting that we're here. I've just ignored you. I'm like, this is great. This has been, what a wonderful, cool thing. Hello, circumnavigator.
Circumnavigate, is that what you say?
I have no idea. It's a really terrible word. We're
modern day circumnavigator, that's a big word.
Yeah, we should just start a new word. Like, what could be a better word?
Modern day explorers.
That's a lot of words.
That's even more words. I don't know, maybe you guys can come up with a tagline for us.
We need to come up with like a new word for circumnavigator.